Today's topic is going to deal with proofing a document, and that's actually going to be covering 3 different chapters. Don't panic, it's not too much work. Proofing a document deals with things like spelling and grammar, so we're going to show you how to run the spell check, talk about grammar check. We're also going to talk about using the Thesaurus. It's a way of being able to come up with other words that have similar meanings. We're going to take a look at hyphenation settings. We're going to deal a little bit with cut and paste and show you a quick way if you want to just move something. We can use something called drag and drop. And then we're going to deal with something called paste special. The first file we're going to get comes from lesson 11 in the book. Just as a note, we are now officially in chapter 2. Lesson number 11 is the first lesson in chapter 2. The actual page number we need to go to open the file is page 188. And on page 188 we can open the file. Enable the editing. And then we're going to save this to our Documents folder. Save it to Documents, creating a folder with today's date. Opening that folder up, and then adding our initials to the end of the file. One of the things we can do with our document is we can check it for spelling and grammar errors. You may notice that words with red underlines are misspelled words. Words with blue underlines are grammatical errors or could be an error relating to proper case and so forth. I want to talk for just a second about grammar errors. We do have the ability to modify some of the settings as it relates to spelling and grammar, so we need to take a look at where those settings are. If you will, please go to the File menu, click File, Options. In the Options section of Microsoft Word, here's where I can set several options relating to my computer and specifically relating to Microsoft Word. I'm going to come down here to the proofing group. Proofing is where you're going to find spelling and grammar issues. And as I scroll down here, I can see that it's going to check spelling as I type. This setting here basically is what puts those red underlines underneath words that are misspelled. If I turn this off, those red squiggly lines would stop appearing. The same thing with the mark grammar errors as you type. Just a note, on certification exams, I have regularly seen them have you turn these settings on or off. So you want to know where those settings are, and they are, again, under File, Options, Proofing, and you check spelling as you type or mark grammar errors as you type. The other thing you can do is you can say what grammar errors to check for. Right here it says Writing Style, and I'm going to click on Settings right here. Notice, for example, it's not going to check for fragments and run-on sentences. If I want to check for that particular grammar error, I would need to turn that on so that it would look for that particular grammar error. I click OK. The other settings I will keep as they are, so I'm going to click OK again. Now I can begin my spell check. If I want to, I can spell check a word, if I'm just looking at a specific word, by right-clicking on that word. So here I see Voyager Travel Adventurers, and adventurers have been misspelled. If I right-click on adventurers, I will see options that I can choose from. So I'm going to pick this top option here to correctly spell adventurers. There is a faster way, however, and it may not seem faster for such a short document as this, but if you have a very long document, 30, 40, 50 pages long, and you want to go through and spell check the whole document, the Review tab has a tool that will let you review that very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and click on Spelling and Grammar, and that begins the process of grammar checking and spell checking my document. Here, it's properly found an incorrect grammar problem. It says the company's president. Companies is spelled correctly, however, this is the wrong instance of the word companies. In this case, it should be a possessive, apostrophe S. So I am going to accept Microsoft's Word option here to change this grammar problem. Next, it says company vice president. This is a fragment, meaning that there is a period that is ending this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to modify this sentence. I'm going to click where the sentence is, and I'm going to say the companies, apostrophe S here, vice president, comma, Lisa Wetzel agrees. So I've revised the look of this so that it gets rid of that sentence fragment. I'm going to come over here and resume my spelling and grammar. This is the person's name, and as such, we may or may not want to ignore this option. If this person's name is going to repeatedly appear in my Word documents, what I might want to do is add this person's name to my dictionary. Since this name's not going to repeatedly appear, we're going to simply say ignore, and what that'll do is ignore the spelling of that one time. Here we have a spelling issue. In reality, it's simply a double word. Although very rarely, there are occasions when you want the same word twice in a sentence. This is not one of those cases, so we want to delete this particular word. The issue here is there is actually 2 spaces between the word kayaking and in. Now, I can notice that because my show hide is on, but with my show hide not on, that might not be as obvious. If you look over here on the right, it will give you a reason for why it's flagging this as a potential problem. It looks like you might have inserted more spaces than you intended. So we are going to go ahead and change this and use the correction that they are suggesting. Here, it's suggesting that you use the word an because the following word starts with a vowel, and this is a correct thing that we should do, so we are going to change the A to an an. Here it's noticed that the like is using a lowercase l when it is beginning a sentence, and so as it suggests, we are going to change this grammatical error as well. I now get a prompt saying that my spelling and grammar are now complete. I click OK, and I now have a correctly spelled and grammatically correct document. We're going to talk for just a second about a feature called the Thesaurus. The Thesaurus gives us the ability to pick a word that has a similar meaning to a word that already exists in our document. In this example, I'm going to look on this very first sentence, and in this very first sentence there is this word announces. I want to see if I can find another word that has a similar meaning to announces than that word. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to use our thesaurus to be able to find this. Honestly, the thesaurus, you may have noticed, is a part of the Review tab. However, A quick way of doing this is to right-click on a word. Thesaurus, another word for it, is a synonym. And so I can come down here to synonyms and I can see different words that have a similar meaning to announces. The one that we're going to choose to use in this particular case is the reveals option. So I'm going to click on reveals, and that will change the word so that it now says Voyager Travel Adventures reveals summer tours. On your certification exam, it's possible that you may be asked questions concerning hyphenation. Hyphenation is where a word may get broken into two parts if it appears at the end of a sentence, where they might put a dash between two syllables and continue the word on the next line. Hyphenation settings are available in Word, and they are available on the Page Layout tab. If you click on Page Layout, you will see the button that says Hyphenation. You have several options that are available to you. Right now, the current setting is None, which means don't use hyphenation in this document. If we change this to Automatic, we will see that Word now is able to add hyphens to my document. In my case, looking at the end of the first line, I see the word Denver, and it is properly hyphenated in between the N and the V. Also, you will see the word accommodations has been hyphenated as well. Again, Word has taken care of that because it has recognized that it is possible to do this. Trying also has got the hyphenation in it. Let's save this file. File save. And we're done with this file. We're going to move on to more proofing items in Chapter 12. We'll now need to open a file from Lesson 12. So for that, we're going to go to our book and turn to page 198. Page 198. And here you will find a link to open up that Word file. We will enable the editing of this file and save this file to our dated folder, adding our initials to the file name. Now, as you can see here, we've got a title called Spin with David and a picture of somebody that does not look like David. And then we've got a title of Eat Healthy with Sandra and a picture that is definitely not Sandra. So what we want to do is we need to switch these two titles around. We can do this using a feature called drag and drop. So I'm going to select this title that says Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra, making sure that that ending paragraph symbol is also selected. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point at this selected text, and I'm going to take and drag this up and drop it next to Spin with David. That has now put that text in that location. Now we're going to kind of reverse the process. I'm going to select the text that says Spin with David, point at that selected text, and drag it down next to David Fremont. And that should put Spin with David right here. I said Fremont, it's actually Fairmont. So now we've dragged and dropped our two titles and placed them in the proper place. Now, what we want to do is we want to take this text, Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra, and we want to put it right here in our article, but I don't want to use the same formatting. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this text up here, making sure that that ending paragraph symbol is not selected. If you need to, turn your Show Hide on. Now I'm going to copy this text, since I want to put a copy of it down here. And we're going to click right after Should I Be Taking Supplements? We're going to click right here. And now this time we're going to paste, but instead of using the typical paste, we're going to paste and merge the formatting. So if you click the drop down arrow on this paste button, you'll see this Keep Source Formatting, Merge Formatting, that means make it look like the text that it's currently in line with, and then the last one just simply places the text in. So we're going to be choosing this second option to merge formatting, and Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra comes in here. It looks like the rest of the text. For me, I'm going to have to hit space a couple times in order to put a couple of spaces after the exclamation point of Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra. Now what I want to do is I want to add some more text to the bottom of this particular file. So I've placed my cursor at the very end of the document, and I'm going to press the Enter key a few times. I'm pressing the Enter key enough to where my cursor is placed underneath the picture of David. And here we're going to type in the word schedule. Once schedule has been typed, we're going to go ahead and change the format of schedule. We're going to use the style called title. Then underneath the schedule, what we're going to do is we're going to copy the Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra and the Spin with David down here underneath the schedule. So we're going to select Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra, including the paragraph symbol. I'm going to copy the text. Clicking underneath the schedule, what I want to do is I want to paste this, but I want to merge the formatting so that it doesn't use that larger text formatting. I'm going to repeat the process with Spin with David. So I'm going to select Spin with David, copy, clicking underneath the Eat Heart Healthy at the bottom here, and again we're going to paste, merging the format in to our text. The last thing we want to do is we want to, since this is a schedule, we need to put the dates, or the days I should say, that these particular activities are going on. So I'm going to select both of these items, and we're going to use a tabbed list. You may remember how to get to tabs. We've been practicing this in some of our grader projects. We're going to go into the paragraph dialog box, open up our tabs dialog box, and what I want to do is I want to create a tab at the 4-inch mark. So I'm going to type in the number 4. It's going to be a standard left tab, and this particular tab is not going to have any leaders on it. So I click OK. Now I have the tabs available to me, so I'm going to click at the end of Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra. So I'm clicking at the end of that line and I'm pressing my tab key on my keyboard. Now I want to put down the day that this is going to happen. This happens every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Coming to the Spin with David, clicking at the end of that line, I'm going to use the tab key, and I'm going to type this in as Thursday, and the time for that is going to be 7:30 p.m. So I've got Eat Heart Healthy with Sandra happening on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock p.m. and I've got Spin with David happening on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. So now I've used the copy and paste to copy some of our text, eliminating some of the formatting of it, but pasting it in place so that I can complete out my flyer. Let's once again save this file, and we can now close this file, and this brings us to the end of the lesson for today. In this lesson, we learned how to proof a document using the spell checker and the grammar checker and how those work together at the same time. We took a look at the Thesaurus to change a word to another word that has a similar meaning. We adjusted the hyphenation settings. We used copy and paste or cut and paste. We showed you how to drag and drop something from one location to the other. And then we used the paste special. That was where we clicked the drop down on that paste button to choose a different option than the standard paste option. We used paste special in order to paste our text in using a different format, a format similar to the current text rather than what it looked like when we cut it originally or copied it.